Ohio State Murders is a story of a playwright, a fictional playwright, returning to her alma mater to give a speech and talk about the violent imagery in her work. But in doing so, she sort of revisits her past and her time at Ohio State and sort of mystery and drama that unfolded while she was there. And she reveals to us through memory a lot of those details. And we learn about her experience and her interaction with racism as a black woman in the 1950s in a predominantly white institution.
The frightening thing about looking at this play with the 2022 lens is that a lot of the things that my character Suzanne experienced and is dealing with and talks about in the play that happened to her in 1949 as a result of systemic racism that was in place, as a result of the fact that she was a woman, a black woman this time, a young girl at this time, feels a little too familiar here in 2022, as if instead of heading towards 2022 and beyond, like away from it, we're starting to make a U-turn and head back towards the 40s, and that's frightening. And so I think it's kind of important that we do a play like this today, not only to give Adrienne her flowers and to make sure that people know who this woman is and know her work and see her work and feel her work. But it's important to show that society is going in the wrong direction. And this is what systemic racism does. And it's a murder mystery, absolutely. It's suspenseful. But she sort of lays bare the death by 1,000 cuts that systemic racism does. And so it's just important to see, especially at a time we've got people denying the fact that systemic racism exists or trying to legislate more systemic racism back into our society. It's frightening to think. I mean, here we are doing this play and rehearsing this play right now, and we've got affirmative action in front of the Supreme Court right now. So at any rate, but at the same time, it's a brilliant memory play and it's a suspenseful murder mystery. So it has everything, it really does.
I think for me, the biggest marker is the idea that a lot of the things that are happening in this show are still happening right now. And every day when I get to work on this play or reread it, it's a constant reminder that there's so much more work that we're still working on in different institutions or also just the world as a whole.
We talk about how racism has affected our society, our country, and it is still relevant to this day, especially as a black woman trying to tell her story and trying to get the notification that or trying to get the representation that she deserves. It's very difficult. It was difficult then, and I think it's still, very true today. So I think that's what stands out to me the most, reading this play in 2022.
I am hoping this play is capable of giving the gift of the experience of feeling. And I'm hoping that audiences begin to listen with their whole beings and take on what it feels like to be Suzanne. And in that process, an enlarged consciousness of what it is to be human.
I want us to say out loud, hey, this is where we were in 1865. This is where we were in 1963. This is where we were in 2008. This is where we were in 2016. Where are we now? That's all. Where are we now? And what can we do to create a more beautiful world for my grandkids, Gabriel and Sophie?